What's going on, guys? Dr. Justin Kernot with ProofMode Health. 3 people are dead on a cruise ship, 8 infected, and most of the coverage you're seeing right now is completely missing the point because reporters are asking, how do you catch it? And the question should really be that you should be asking is, why did some people on the ship survive the same exposure and others didn't? The answer changes everything about how you protect yourself. Let me show you how. Again, I'm Dr. Justin Kernut, holistic pharmacist, and this is the Pharmacist Reality Check. Now, you guys, I get in this rhythm, in this mode of trying to read scripts and be incredibly professional, and I just it hinders me. I watch them back and I just don't like them. So, I created this exact same presentation and it took me over an hour long to just read it. On the script, and it was only supposed to take 20 minutes, and I failed. And it just didn't even sound good. So I'm gonna take clips and parts of that, but we're gonna riff. We're gonna go off of just me. Because if you're gonna get an hour of me, it may as well be me off the cuff rather than just reading a script. Now, with this in mind, I am going to first start out with some fun. And I'm gonna take you to this screen, even though I'm trying to minimize it. I tell you what, I'm gonna try to minimize this for just a second here, and I'm gonna pull up some photos. Now, this is of the Hantavirus, and you guys, it is absolutely astounding. So let's go ahead and see what I can pull here. All right, I don't see them, so let's just go ahead and I've got it on my other screen. Okay, so you guys, this is a photo of the Hantavirus, and this is, if you can see over here on the bottom left of this, it's a screenshot of my phone because I see these. This is a whole, man accidentally enters the scene while they're shooting the latest episode of Hantavirus, right? And this guy, if you can see it, let's see if I can pull the other photo. There he is. Okay, he starts off by the uh escalator or the staircase, and he walks all the way through this scene, and it's frustrating. There he is. Okay, the stairs are over here, right to the left of this, and he walks all the way past. Now, this looks like the actual flight attendant. Now, this guy's obviously not scared at all, and when you watch the actual video, he just strolls on through. It is actually absurd. Now, here's another one. Now, this is I hope some of my weightlifting friends, some of my jujitsu friends can appreciate this one. 2 of the strongest people in the world carrying a body. Now, if you know anything about a body, oh my gosh, they are so what we call a sack of potatoes. They're dead weight. Now, this guy's got an overhand grip. Like, he must have forearms, or she, it actually looks like it might even be a woman. It has forearm strength of the Hulk here. That is not the grip that I would take. I would actually like I would actually like be like grabbing the sheet, right? Like holding it with I mean, this would take 4 people. This would take 4 people to actually carry, because look at this, and they're just like scooting through a doorway with it. Like, this is absurd. And this is again another scare tactic with the hantavirus. Now let's go. I think I have one more here. Now look at this one. Look at this one. Now this is actually not even uh this is not even actually the hantavirus, but if you can see the guy over here, he's actually recording. This is in Puerto Rico. Okay, this is an international like trial. Like they're like demonstrating what they would do in the case of a pandemic. Now, this is actually circulated through the hantavirus with this, and this is absurd, you guys. This is the kind of footage that they're trying to release and they're trying to actually scare people with. And it's so frustrating that they would do this. Now, let's go ahead and just get to the presentation, and I'll slam through this because you guys, I don't need to speak, but Hantavirus Outbreak, this is a pharmacist reality check by me. And let's see if I can skip ahead here because I can't seem to. There we go. Now, a quick word before I begin. This is educational content only. Edutainment is what we like to call it. So educational content only. This episode's for general education. It's not medical advice. This is no diagnosis, no treatment, nothing here to diagnose, treat, talk to your prescriber. If any discussion on supplements are here, then you should go talk to your healthcare provider. Medications, conditions, pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. Now, this virus, the hantavirus, specifically the Andes hantavirus, this is a specific strain of it. It does not attack your lungs the way you think. The way you think, they have you think that there's this lung attacking upper respiratory virus. Now it targets the lining of your blood vessels. When that lining breaks down, you leak from the inside. The hospitalization rate of somebody that catches this is 30 to 50%. Your vascular terrain is the difference. So the question is, why didn't everybody on the cruise ship that was originally infected get infected? Only like 3 were showing symptoms, 8 were being quarantined, and the other 1,000 people were just watching. Again, why did some get it and some didn't? It's your brain, body, physiology. How up to par and up to speed are you? Okay. Now, today, no panic, no fluff, wellness, first wellness is what I like to call it. Now, what is the Andes hantavirus? It's not new. It's been known for decades. It's been known for decades. Now, the reservoir is wild rodents in Chile and Argentina. That's where this specific one comes from. Exposure is from aerosolized droppings, urine, or nesting material. It's essentially like a barn that's being infested by rodents, and the person goes in there to sweep and they kick it all up in the air and then they breathe it and then they become infected with the Andes hantavirus. And what ends up happening is again the unusual feature is that it would be human to human. Now, human to human spread is possible, as shown through this, but it is rare. Now, close contact with the droplets, it's not efficient airborne spread. Remember, COVID, they said, oh, 6 feet apart, it doesn't really, wear the masks. This is actually close contact droplets. Now, most people are actually infected through the eyes. I don't know how many people know that. There's an actual high percentage of people every single year with just the normal cold and flu that they've got studies that show that if you wear glasses, you just wear glasses because you can't see, nearsighted, farsighted, whatever, that those people tend to get sick less often. People that don't touch their face all the time also get sick less often. It's when people touch a doorknob, if somebody that sneezed on their hand and then touched the doorknob, and then I touched the doorknob and then I rub my eye, most infections are actually caused through that. Okay, our gastric system is actually designed to keep bacteria out, but our eyes aren't. Our nose, we've got some, mucosal membranes that, that work there. Hair is even there designed to keep things out, okay? But this is a close contact droplet, not efficient airborne. So the fact that they isolated everybody fine on a cruise ship, but but it didn't like circulate through the ventilation system, okay? Now, in the news, the MV Hondius is the cruise ship, 3 deaths, multiple infections. The World Health Organization is monitoring. Again, they're trying to, I don't even know, keep you scared. Now, I'm actually going to switch to the previous presentation I did for this one, where I'm going to sketch out the hierarchy. So if you do see me or I do switch back and forth, it's going to be me looking a little different. It's from my previous taping that I just threw it out, except for certain parts of it like this. So we're going to skip through this. You're going to hear it. I'm just going to doctor it in. So let's go ahead and switch to the tablet. So picture your blood vessels. So you got your blood vessels, but we don't want you to focus on the highways. Okay. We want you, I got to lean over here just to get to my, my screen, and that's fine. We want you to focus on the smaller ones. So as our blood vessels, kind of like a tree root system, they divide and they divide and they divide. Okay. Now, when it divides far enough, it turns into a very small blood vessel, a microvessel called a capillary. Okay, so picture the big blood vessels. okay? Those are the major highways. And you got the tiny streets, which are the capillaries, okay? That microvascular network is woven through your lungs, your kidneys, your heart. These capillaries essentially wrap every tissue we have. Now, we're going to zoom in on this capillary just a little bit. And each one of these capillaries is 1 cell thick. 1 cell thick. That lining is what we call the endothelium. Sorry for my chicken scratch. That is the endothelium. This is not passive wallpaper. It is active, dynamic, regulatory tissue. It decides what gets in. Now, this decides what can get through. There's these tight junctions in between these two cells that it can get through. It decides what gets in and what stays out of your bloodstream. It regulates fluid balance. It helps manage blood pressure. It keeps your plasma, which is the liquid part of your blood, inside the vessels where it belongs. Now, here's where it matters for the hantavirus. Here's where it matters. The Andes hantavirus uses specific entry points called integrins to infect those endothelial cells. So what hantavirus does is, oh wait, I thought I changed that to green, is it infects specific endothelial cells throughout the body. It uses specific entry points called integrins to infect those endothelial cells. Now, when the virus gets into the endothelium, that vascular barrier, that fence, starts to fail. So what happens when that fails is instead of blood being, and again, what it does is it keeps the blood cell on the outside, the plasma, and it transfers in all the nutrients. But when it's infected, the blood cell can actually just leak right out. It allows leakage. The fence collapses. You leak, literally. Plasma escapes from your blood vessels into surrounding tissues. Your lungs start to fill with fluid. That clinical picture is called hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. Okay. So that's called a hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. And once you're hospitalized with that, the mortality rate sits around 30 to 50%. But here's the insight that changes everything about how you think about this virus. And I want you to really hear it. I want you to really hear it. The most dangerous phase of hantavirus disease is not just about how much virus is present. It's about endothelial dysfunction, how well your vascular barrier holds up under attack. Two people, okay, think of that cruise ship. There was thousands of people on that cruise ship. Okay, but just think of two people, same virus, same exposure. They probably sat in the same booth eating with that persons, same exposure, different terrain. The terrain of their body was different, and therefore they had two different outcomes. Now, I'm going to get to some some predictions towards the end, but I want to know who is infected. How many are infected? What's their race? We're not being racist. We just want to know, do specific ethnicities have a specific tolerance to getting this hantavirus? Do they have a resilience against it? Do Chilean and Argentinian people have a resilience to this? Okay, do men have a higher rate of getting it than women? And again, I've got some predictions you'll definitely want to hear. Not predictions, highly researched predictions is what I should say. Okay, so different terrain, different outcomes. Now, the terrain is the strategy. So let's go back here to the slides. Now, back from the tablet, the mechanism is vascular leak. Now, we have an endothelium, and again, I explained this in the presentation, but the endothelium is a one cell lining of every blood vessel. Okay, the Andes virus enters via integrins on the endothelial cells. I'm just rehashing this. Vascular barrier weakens, plasma leaks into tissues, lungs fill with fluid. You get what's called HPS, or the Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. And the severity is not just viral load, it is endothelial dysfunction. So the terrain is the strategy. How do we keep it from attacking the endothelium, or penetrating, entering through the integrins on our endothelial cells, right? Now, the 5 levers of your terrain, and again, I hope I laid this out. If I didn't, then who cares? You've got metabolic health, you guys. This is your body. What is your visceral fat, your insulin resistance, damage to the endothelium? First, before we even introduce disease and sickness, what is your original metabolic health? So, what does your sleep look like? Are you getting 7 to 9 hours? Okay, because 7 to 9 hours of sleep actually protects your nitric oxide and lowers inflammation. It's a fact. So if your sleep is deprived before this virus even gets out there, then your terrain is already starting at a disadvantage. 3 is movement. Moderate aerobic exercise upregulates endothelial nitric oxide. Okay, nitric oxide synthase. Now, number 4 is smoking. Smoking, direct endothelial injury with every cigarette. It's a fact. It's a fact. And fear. Chronic stress is vasculotoxic, so calm vigilance wins. Now, I want to talk here for just a second. The 2 top things that affected somebody with COVID when COVID-19 was circulating, the 2 biggest factors for morbidity and comorbidities, what they call it, the biggest things that would set you off for poor outcomes was 1, fear. Number 1 was fear. And it goes back to this screen, fear. Chronic stress is vasculotoxic. It's a fact. This is the fact. So number 1 was fear. So when you looked at the news media and they were spewing all sorts of just fear-mongering, what we call fear porn, it's crazy. Number 1 is fear. Number 2 was obesity. How's your body? Okay, so I think we'd go back to 1 and 5. So metabolic health, what is your metabolic health to begin with, and what is your fear? Now, the rest of these, fine, yeah, probably were big indicators here for COVID-19 as well. I taught people to sleep better, quit smoking, metabolic health, movement, fear, go outside, get vitamin D, get some zinc. I taught these things. And these are the 5 levers of your terrain. Now, your core immunomodulation. Now, these are things that just bolster the immune system in general. So any kind of cold and flu season that's coming up, any kind of pandemic that's rolling around, these are the staples. Vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, selenium, omega-3s. I'm not even going to go into them. They say right there. But this virus specifically targets the vessel lining. So in general, I would teach about these core immunomodulators, but we're going to go ahead and skip past the vascular leak resilience vitamin stack that I have. I take a lot of these on just a general basis already, but there are 4 pillars, which again, I'm going to defer to myself in the past in a live illustration, building the 4-pillar pyramid. Switching to the tablet. Now that's a horrible pyramid, but that's okay. We're going to roll with it. Now we've got 4 pillars. You're going to want to write these down and or screenshot this. Now I'll go through them at the end, so you really don't have to screenshot like my crappy drawing and like my chicken scratch. But if you want to, you totally can. Okay, so we're going to start with, there's essentially 4 layers to this. Okay. A, B, C, and D. Okay, now A is what we're going to call the anchor. The anchor. Okay, pillar B is what we're going to call the nitric oxide power duo. The nitric oxide power duo. Now, pillar C is something we're going to call the vascular triad. Vascular triad. And D, we're calling the fire department. Okay, now I write these down ahead of time because I actually did this. I always do this first in practice. I couldn't change the colors fast enough, so I was just writing all over the place. But let's go ahead and do this. So, pillar A. This is actually going to be just vitamin C. Now, this actually is not sexy at all. Okay, but this is something that we call the anchor. Now, the anchor is vitamin C. This is the cornerstone of this entire stack, not because it's basic, but because it is structurally essential to your vascular biology. You need vitamin C for collagen, hydroxylation. Okay. What that is the weave that holds your capillaries together. Okay. Think of your capillaries as a collagen reinforced hose. Okay. Lined on the inside with the sugar gel coating called the glycocalyx. Okay. In pharmacy school, we actually call it glycocalyx. It's kind of a weird spelling, but glycocalyx. Now, vitamin C helps keep the hose from fraying when inflammation cranks up the pressure. So glycocalyx does two things. Let's go back to the drawing. Okay, we're going to scoot over just a little bit. Okay. On the inside of the endothelium, there is a sugar coating. So vitamin C does two things. It keeps the sugar coating there, as well as keeps everything from fraying. It keeps everything meshed properly. It keeps everything bound tightly so that it's, a hose, not fraying, right? Oh, I keep drawing around over here. Okay. Now, glycocalyx is absolutely critical, and vitamin C helps keep that hose from fraying when inflammation cranks up that pressure. So in severe critical illness, things like acute respiratory distress and acute lung injury, think Hantavirus, what was that, HPS, Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. Okay, acute lung injury, intravenous vitamin C. So vitamin C via an IV bag in your veins has shown measurable reduction in organ failure and capillary leakage in clinical trials. That is a peer-reviewed literature, not supplement bro science or Google rabbit hole research, okay? So vitamin C is the anchor. If you're to do any one thing on this list, any one thing, this is the number one. I bet you even have vitamin C in your house, and I bet you if you don't, it's going to be the cheapest supplement you actually buy. Now, good, better, best. If you wanted to buy vitamin C, just buy anything. My preferred version is actually buffered vitamin C. Buffered vitamin C is a better form. It absorbs easier, and it's less acidic on the gut per se. It absorbs better, though. I really, really like it. So pillar B. Now, pillar B, this is a duo, a nitric oxide duo. This is a supplement called pycnogenol plus L-citrulline. Okay, pycnogenol plus L-citrulline. This is the nitric oxide power duo. Now, your endothelium, okay, that one cell barrier to all your cells, makes nitric oxide, NO. Okay, the signaling molecule that tells your vessels to relax. So when your blood vessels need to relax, they make something called NO. It helps relax them, dilate them, which makes them bigger, expand, and communicates properly what they're doing. The enzyme running that show is ENOS, endothelial nitric oxide synthase. Synthase means making or to create or to synthesize endothelial, the one layer nitric oxide. So ENOS. Now the second one here is pycnogenol. So we're going to start with pycnogenol. Now, pycnogenol is also called maritime pine bark extract. It upregulates ENOS. It improves flow-mediated dilation and reduces capillary leakage in human data. L-citrulline, on the other hand, supplies the substrate for nitric oxide production. So think of it this way. Pycnogenol is the ignition. Citrulline is the fuel. Together, you get a smart nitric oxide stack that tells your blood vessels open smoothly, communicate clearly, hold the tone. Don't blow a gasket. Don't leak. And yes, if you ever have come into my wellness center and you're a male and you have something called ED, erectile dysfunction, this may have been a regimen that I may have pointed you towards, because this is an erectile dysfunction duo. Okay? Hear that again. Together, this is a nitric oxide stack. It tells your blood vessels open smoothly. Okay, an erection is blood flow. A lot of it. Communicate clearly, holds its tone. It holds where it's at. Doesn't blow a gasket. Don't leak. Okay? So yes, this may have been an erectile dysfunction regimen that I have given plenty of men, but erection or getting an erection is basically an endothelial function test. How is your endothelium doing? Can you get an erection? Can you maintain an erection if you're a male, of course? If you can't or you struggle with it, then your terrain is already poor. And Hantavirus has a greater efficacy of targeting you and making headway. Does that make sense? Making gains in infecting you. Or I don't know how else to say this. It's a child-appropriate show. I'm just giving you the physiology, guys. Okay, so let's keep going. So pillar C, this is the vascular triad. Now in here is resveratrol. Resveratrol plus Chinese skullcap. Now I've got slides afterwards, so don't feel like you have to read my handwriting here. And the last one is Dan Shen. Okay. Now this is the heavy hitter combo. This is the heavy hitter combo. Don't let the names or the plants or the substances fool you. Okay. Resveratrol in and of itself upregulates ENOS. It activates SIRT1, SIRT1, which is a key longevity pathway. They're actually tracing nitric oxide and nitric oxide production to longevity. That almost every disease stems from a nitric oxide dysfunction. Maybe, probably, feels right. Okay, but SIRT1 is a key longevity pathway. And resveratrol also calms NF-κ beta, which is a major inflammatory switch. It tells your capillary junctions stay tight. Okay, resveratrol, lots of foods contain resveratrol, including wine. I'm not a drinker, but wine is incredibly replete of resveratrol. Okay, Chinese skullcap. Okay, there is something we call scutellaria. Okay, brings broad antiviral, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory activity. It down-regulates VCAM1 and ICAM1. This is the adhesion molecules. They get turned up in inflammation, and it can help shred vessel walls if they go unchecked. Dan Shen is something we call salvia. Protects microcirculation and modulates platelet aggregation, helping reduce microclots in the damaged vessels. So together, this triad tells your capillaries keep the junctions tight, keep the glycocalyx thick, keep the platelets polite, and that is that C tier. This C tier is a pharmacist's protocol, not a wellness influencer's guess. All right, let's get to D. D is what we call the fire department. Okay, this is a twofer. Okay, we've got NAC, NAC, plus glutathione. Okay, that's horrible. It's getting worse because it's shrinking. Guess we need to zoom in a little bit. Okay. Now, this is what we call the fire department. Glutathione is your master intracellular antioxidant. It protects endothelial cells and immune cells from the oxidative firestorm that a severe viral infection creates. NAC, N-acetylcysteine, is how you replenish those glutathione reserves systemically. So what I call glutathione and NAC is an IRER formulation for oxidative stress or inflammation. Glutathione is used immediately to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, and then NAC will help build more glutathione down the road. So an immediate release and an extended release. Glutathione is the fire department. NAC is the fuel in the trucks. Now in Hantavirus, pulmonary disease, oxidative stress, it'll make me bigger now. Oxidative stress is a pulmonary driver of lung injury. Having your glutathione reserves loaded going into an infection is a real protective advantage, not something you scramble to fix in the middle of a fire. So just having D figured out and up regulating it, getting it in your body now and in high amounts is an incredible. It's like when somebody knows a fire's coming and they start soaking their house with water, right? They turn on all the sprinklers and then they drive away and they just leave all their sprinklers on and they come back and everything's burnt around it except the house. That's kind of like loading up on NAC and glutathione. Now, to reiterate what the tablet said, pillar A is vitamin C. Vitamin C, this is the anchor, structural support. A structural support for the capillary walls, required for collagen hydroxylation. Collagen hydroxylation, this is the weave of your capillaries. Kind of like rope, how it's different fibers that are woven together to make them strong. It supports the glycocalyx, your endothelial sugar gel lining. IV vitamin C is critical in critical illness, is proven to reduce organ failure, according to trials. Large trials, might I add. Foundation of the stack, this is the start, the cornerstone, not because it's basic, but because it is structural. You guys, vitamin C is simple, it's cheap, it's affordable, go buy it. You don't even need me. Okay, pillar B, this is pycnogenol and L-citrulline. Now, this is the nitric oxide power duo. If you have come into my facility ever, my wellness center, or talked to me and you're a male and you've got things like erectile dysfunction, okay, it all goes back to nitric oxide production. This is cell wall or vascular endothelial nitric oxide buffering, like fixing, okay? So now pycnogenol and L-citrulline is something that I would actually recommend to somebody if they came to me with erectile dysfunction, because this all pivots back to your vascular system being so good, your terrain being off the charts. The nitric oxide power duo, pycnogenol, what we call maritime pine bark, it upregulates ENOS, endothelial nitric oxide synthase, so the builder of nitric oxide inside of your one-lining cells across all of your blood vessels. That's crazy. That's incredible. Let's boost that. It improves flow-mediated dilation, reduces capillary leakage. Okay, L-citrulline supplies the substrate for nitric oxide production. Pycnogenol is the ignition. Citrulline is the fuel. Now, if you want maritime pine bark. I don't know where you get that. That's fine. It is a pine bark, obviously. So just order the tree, get it on your property, and chew on the the bark or something. I don't know. But when it comes to L-citrulline, I will tell you one of the greatest foods, food substrates, products of a food that you can get L-citrulline from is actually watermelon rind. So they say when you're juicing, they say juice obviously the internal of the watermelon. It's delicious. It's the pulp, the redness, but throw in the actual rind and you get L-citrulline powerhouse that helps your blood vessels, especially men. If you've got erectile dysfunction, they have different drinks where you can just blend the entire watermelon and it gives you ample amounts. Now, that makes it a little more bitter, a little more, I suppose a little less palatable, but guess what? For the benefits of L-citrulline being in the husk, the outer shell of what we always throw away, that's incredible. Incredible. Let's keep going. So pillar C. Well, let's go back. Let's see. A smart nitric oxide stack. Open smoothly, communicate, hold tone. And if you think of erectile dysfunction, those are all important parts. Now, pillar C is the vascular triad. This is resveratrol. This is Chinese skullcap. This is Dan Shen, or something we call salvia. Salvia. Now, resveratrol upregulates ENOS, activates SIRT1 or SIRT1. I think they call it SIRT because the one looks like an extra I. I don't know. Poems NF alpha kappa beta. I don't even know what that stands for. But it's an inflammatory marker. I know that. Now, Chinese skullcap is a broad antiviral, downregulates VCAM1 and ICAM1. Danshin protects the microcirculation, modulates platelet aggregation so your body's not coagulating improperly. This helps the tight junctions. So your endothelial that's one cell thick, it will actually tighten that junction so that it can't, push on through. Thickens the glycocalyx, and it's polite to platelets. Because this is a pharmacist protocol, not a wellness influencer's guess. This is the vascular triad, and it is absolutely incredible. But this is pillar C. Can't afford pillar C, or you don't want to try pillar C, do pillar B, do pillar A. Pillar A is vitamin C. Pillar B you can get from watermelon. Go buy a watermelon, right? Assuming it's in season. Pillar C, this is where you start getting into some weird ones. Resveratrol, glass of wine. You don't know what dosing you're actually getting, so it's kind of hard to say, but resveratrol, grapes, wine, good. Chinese skullcap is Chinese skullcap. Dan Shen is salvia. You guys probably never even heard of that. Incredible. Very, very good in general. And resveratrol, Chinese skullcap, and Dan Shen also helped for the upper respiratory effects of COVID. So this is a powerhouse. The next one is N-acetylcysteine and glutathione. This is what we call pillar D, or the fire department. Now, I drew all this. Again, I'm just rehashing it. Glutathione, the master intracellular antioxidant. N-acetylcysteine replenishes systemic glutathione. So this is what we call an IR and an ER. The NAC kicks in, glutathione kicks in right away, whereas the NAC helps produce more glutathione for later on. Oxidative stress is a primary driver of pulmonary injury in Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, HPS. Okay, glutathione is the truck, NAC is the fuel. Load the reserves before the fire, not during. So this is one that you would try to aggressively pursue ahead of time. If you're worried that it's coming to your neighborhood, or you're worried that it's already in your community, then skip A, B, and C pillars and just start with this one. Up regulate a lot of the glutathione in the NAC and vitamin C, I would say, and you will be a powerhouse for the terrain that you have, regardless of sleep. Obviously, sleep is going to be better, regardless of your metabolism and your body's fat. Although you should, proactively do and fix, you should. But these are strategies to overcome, regardless of what your terrain already is. Now, this is the vascular defense stack. Again, NAC and glutathione is the top of the pillar, probably not the most urgent. C is resveratrol and skullcap. B is pycnogenol, L-citrulline. A, the very bottom, the foundation, I should say the very lowest layer is vitamin C, and the very bottom layer, well, I guess the layer below that would be like the immunomodulation, and then the layer below that would be, uh, that would be your the fear, the lack of fear, the sleep, walking, how active are you, and your weight. There was 5 of those. I probably skipped one, but that's okay. That is okay. Now, segment 6, this is a bold mechanistic prediction. And my prediction is that severe disease will skew towards men over 40 with metabolic disease. Why? Because you have a worse baseline of endothelial function. Now, men in general also have a tilted worse baseline endothelial function. This is why if you've got any semblance of erectile dysfunction, then you've got an endothelial function, I should say endothelial dysfunction. Hey, you're already starting behind everyone else. Now, things that add to the worstness of this is visceral fat, hypertension, insulin resistance. Men tend to have a bit worse of that. Already you have a weakened fence, right? If you're trying to protect against a herd trying to break through the fence and you've got a weak fence, yeah. Now, also, I predict men over the age of 40 will have a higher incidence of getting it. Now, once somebody has it, there's a 30 to 50% mortality rate. So first and foremost, men over 40 are going to be affected, and then there's going to be a 30 to 50% of people that get it that actually will pass away. Now, that's just a prediction based on how this virus affects the endothelial system. Now, premenopausal women, I want to straight up throw this out there for you. Estrogen upregulates ENOS. So if you're premenopausal, then you actually have stronger vascular system than normal people. You've got vascular protection because of the estrogen that your body has. Just a fact. So every item on this list is modifiable. Okay, we can change a lot of these. Now, there's 2 camps. There's the panickers and the dismissers. The panickers, they'll spiral, they'll buy everything, believe everything, exhaust themselves with fear. The dismissers, on the other hand, shrug, call it hype, do nothing, skip to foundational. And to be fair, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Okay, it's not the, I got it. My screen is so small here. Let's see if I can, oh, there we go. A little bit bigger. There we go. The panickers are over here. The dismissers are over here. The truth is somewhere right in the middle. Okay, don't be both. Don't be either. I don't know. Both groups do the same thing. Nothing useful for their actual. Now the terrain is the strategy. This is the landing. This is the end all be all. Not the supplement, not the antiviral, not the headline. This is the strategy, is to protect the terrain. Now, say with this tonight, if a vascular leak pathogen showed up in my life tomorrow, such as the Hantavirus, how resilient is my terrain? Upstream is your metabolic health, your sleep, your movement. These are all things that are upstream. Downstream is the next headline supplement. So to be fair, all the supplements that I just threw out here, they are beneficial. They will do good for you. They absolutely will. However, that's downstream. How's your metabolic health to begin with? If you need to lose 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds, let's talk that first. Reach out to me. I've got protocols, I've got methods. It's simple. It's simple. I'm down 40 pounds in 6 months. My energy levels are up. Feel great. My wife is down 40 pounds, maybe almost 50 pounds after having 5 kids on certain protocols. It is incredible how much your body can go through and put up with. But if we don't have the upstream figured out, then the downstream is not going to matter. So fix the foundation, build the stack on top of it. That's the answer. That's the answer. Fix the foundation and build the stack on top of it. Now, 3 things to do right now. Grab the free 4-pillar PDF. I'll have the link in the description somewhere. I don't know where it's at yet, but grab the free 4-pillar PDF. complete the Vascular Resilience Protocol. Link is in the description. Okay, share with one person, one text, one share, the most powerful thing you can do, especially if you're a male over 40. Number 3, subscribe, comment, like, tell me which pillar you want a deeper dive into, and I will dive into those. Now, stay curious, stay science first. You are not what you eat, you are what you absorb. That is my most common phrase and most common is my most common phrase. Now, I'm going to try to drop this, and I'm actually going to pull up the 4-pillar for you, and I want to show you what you can have, what you should share. So let's see if you can see that. Boom. Now, this is literally what I went through. This is the hantavirus and vascular resistance. The terrain is the strategy. So if you look up top, this is the biology. This is how it targets. This is the single cell. Hopefully it attacks HPS, right? The internal leakage, you leak from the inside. And then here's the pillar strategy down below. Now, here in the middle is the core immunomodulator foundation. Again, this is like, so lifestyle is the foundation. Lifestyle is the foundation for sure. Right above that would be the core immunomodulators. You need these, you guys. Vitamin D, zinc, omega-3s. They stabilize the immune system. It's just good to have in general. Now, outside of that, then you got pillar A, which is vitamin C. You got pillar B, which is pycnogenol and citrulline, which there's a beautiful watermelon right there. Now, it's not the inside of the watermelon. It's the outside of the watermelon. Okay, pillar C right here. This is the vascular triad, resveratrol, skullcap, Dan Shen. This is vitamin D, your NAC, and your glutathione. You guys can have this for free by clicking the link and finding it. Now, outside of this, I also have, and I caution you, just as the last thing here, this is the 4-pillar vascular resilience stack. Now, on here, I've got some dosing logic. This is your core immunomodulator foundation. Okay, everybody every day should be on this for sure, regardless of the outbreak. Now, this is a core 3, what I think everybody should be taking. The core 5, what I think everybody should be taking. And then we go into the anchors, everything that I talked about, pillar A through D. You can click on a link, and it will take you to a pharmaceutical grade warehouse where you can order these. You guys should be cautious ordering everything from Amazon. I'm not saying Amazon is bad. You can get good products. But there was a line of essential oils that we used once upon a time, and it came back third-party tested from purchasing it on Amazon. And what people were doing was buying the actual vial of essential oil from the manufacturer, and then what they were doing is buying 2 more vials that looked just like it, labeling it the exact same way. They'd pour a third, so it smelled the same, it looked the same, it felt the same. They'd fill it with fractionated coconut oil, and then they'd reseal all 3. They looked brand new. You couldn't tell. It still popped the seal, brand new. And the company had to come out and say, we looked at that batch testing, and ours is perfect, and theirs is not perfect. The company that did the third-party testing. They found out that it was Amazon, because Amazon is not regulated. They don't check, that you should order through the manufacturer as often as possible, or a pharmaceutical grade warehouse, or a trusted supplier. Again, I'm not saying that they do this with every product in Amazon, but I'm saying that you should know where you're buying things from. Now, assuming you use this link here, you can click it. It'll take you to my pharmaceutical grade warehouse, where I point you towards my suggested products. Now, I do make a buck on them, but they're as affordable as if you could get them locally. Now, you could click that link anyways, and if you can find them locally, use a local health food store or something like that. Go support them. I'm all in. But if not, click that link, hit order. Now, sometimes you might have to click that link, create a profile. It's called full script. Create a profile. Then once it's created, exit out, re-click the link, and it will automatically log you in and take you exactly to the stack. And what you can do is it'll have the vitamin C, it'll have the L-citrulline pycnogenol, it'll have the resveratrol, the skullcap, the Dan Shen, the NAC, and the glutathione. And I try to combine those into as few supplements as possible if you decide to get them all. But you can just hit X or cancel on the ones you don't want, and then just purchase the ones you do want. Check them out. They come from a pharmaceutical grade warehouse. They're third party tested. I trust them. I know you're getting what you say they are. They're quick at delivery. They do phenomenal. Again, I earn a buck, but I dump it right back into you guys here. So you guys, I love you. Take it easy. Just know that if the hantavirus disappears, this is fine. No need for this. Just know that I've got an answer for you on the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And all I'm going to be teaching you is how to build the terrain on each and every one of those outbreaks. Guys, this is Dr. Justin Kernell with Proof Mode Health. Love you. Catch you on the next one. Thanks.